This is the solution to exercise 5a. In this exercise, we'll be creating the project source code repository for the FizzBuzz sample code. So the first thing we need to do is open our browser and navigate to the DevOps Services for Bluemix site, which is at hub.jazz.net. And when there, we just log in, and then we want to create a new project. So we click the Create Project button. We give it a name. We're going to create a new repository, and that's going to be a Git repository on Bluemix. We want to initialize the repository, and we want to make this a Bluemix project. When you select that, you'll be asked to choose which region, then which organization, and which space. When you've entered all the details, press the Create button. So your new project has now been created, and what we need to do is we need to copy the Git URL. So we click here and we Control-C or Command-C, depending what your platform wants, to copy that. Next, we launch Eclipse, and then File, Import, and then from the list that opens, you want to go and select Git, and we're going to import a project from Git, and we're going to clone, select Next, and then paste in the Git URL that you copied before. You'll need to sign on to Bluemix, and then again you can choose to store this in a secure store. Select the master branch, leave that as default. Leave that as default. And then importantly, we are going to import as a general project. Don't leave it as an Eclipse project. We want to import this as a general project. Select Next, and then Finish. And you'll see we've now got our project in Eclipse. So like before, we right click the project, go into Properties, and we want to make this a faceted form, and we select that it's a Node.js application, and that will enable us to deploy to Bluemix if we want to. So you now see that it automatically creates some files when you add the facet, and we don't want those, so we just want to remove. So right click and say delete, and similarly with the package.json, right click, delete, and that's removed those. So what we're going to do now is set up the Eclipse work area, and what we want to do is we want to edit the gitignore file. Now any file that begins with a dot is not going to appear in the Explorer, so we need to show the navigator view. So we go to Window, Show View, and select Navigator, and that will pop up next to this. And now you can see files that begin with a dot. So what you want to do here is right click, say New File, and this is going to be called .gitignore. So any files or directories names that we put in this file will not be part of our Git project within the DevOps Services site. And what we want to do is we want to add the Eclipse settings to that. So we're going to add .project and the dot setting. We need to add those two directories, and then you can do a Control S or File Save just to save that file. This little greater than sign shows that we've got changes that haven't yet been pushed to our Git repository, so we're out of sync with the repository. So if we right click here, say team, and then commit, we can now add this file to the repository. When you do this the first time, it's going to ask for your identification and your email address. And then this is the commit message that we can do. So we can just simply say up here, we make sure that we select that file, and then we can just say commit and push. And that is now showing that we're syncing up with the MOS repository. Okay, so that completed. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the ability to work on the command line from within Eclipse. So from Window, Show View, and then we select Other. And move down until we see Terminals. It's the terminal with an S at the end, not the one above it. We open that, and then select the Terminals view and click OK. And that will allow us now to open a terminal and to set the window up so we can work slightly better. What we do is we just click and hold and then drag that until we see the horizontal split. So if you move that around, you'll see that it changes. We want to make sure it's the vertical separator, so we have two windows side by side, and then we release the mouse button, and that will allow us to have a terminal window within Eclipse. And that's the conclusion of exercise 5A.